We're staying with the conversation of gender-based violence. Now, ACT Now, a new movement of South African men who have organized themselves to fight the scourge of gender-based violence and send a strong message to abusers to stop violating women and children. Today, on Father's Day, the movement led by popular actor Sello Maake Ka-Ncube will be marching to the union buildings to present a petition to the presidency. The men will be joined by their sons on the march. Let's now speak to Sello. Sello, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for talking to us just as you prepare to start the march. A very strong message you're sending out. You're saying to men, what's the use of celebrating Father's Day if you're abusing and killing your women and children? Quite a strong message.
Absolutely, Desiree, and good morning to you and the viewers. We really are sending out a very strong message that as fathers, we really, on this day where we're supposed to be celebrated, that we're not just going to sit back and be celebrated, but stand up and lend our voices to the call by women for many, 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 many decades, if not centuries, of gender-based violence, and saying to all the other men and saying, please, man, let's stop this killing. Let's learn to forgive ourselves and let's reconstruct ourselves and basically change. We come from a very difficult past. We come from difficult families where maybe we are imitating what we are doing from what we saw happening as we were growing up as young boys. But now all we're saying is that Matota Asparameni, let's stand up. Let's get rid of this scourge that is decimating our society, a scourge that is making it uncomfortable for women to live freely in the country. And let's just go ahead and change our minds, change our way of doing. And if you need help, the Department of Social Development even has got, in fact, there is a WhatsApp number where men can call in and, ask for help. If you can't contain your anger, we got to learn to have self-control.
This difficult past that you're referring to, Sello, is it the reason why men are abusing women in South Africa? And tell us exactly what you mean by that.
Look, this difficult past, one thing that we have to realize is that we ape the things, or we imitate the lifestyles that are around us. And we come, others, we grow up in the township where we have seen, the abuse of women being prevalent on the streets or being prevalent in our homes. But apart from that, we come also, or adding to that, we come from the era of colonization, apartheid. And colonization and apartheid, they have been brutal systems that meted inexplicable violence on us as Black people. When you look at what they've done to the African Americans, the lynchings, we've had our own versions of being lynched in South Africa. People taken in the middle of the night, and also again seeing policemen, during the apartheid era, and the soldiers basically just battering us. We've been battered. Even our fathers, when they went to work, they became boys, instead of men, and humiliated psychologically and emotionally, and we need to heal from that past, and we need to forgive ourselves to say, what, maybe even when we do bad things, we didn't know any better, but now we know better. And it is time for us to change the paradigm, to change our way of doing things, and make sure that we become a better example for our boys and for young men at large.
Ask you, where does this notion come from? Because it's not only in South Africa, we've seen it even on the rest of the continent where there is conflict, even globally where there has been wars. Where does the notion come from that frustrations need to be taken out on women?
Well, look, it's not that we are aiming basically at women. Men, the thing of taking out frustration on anybody who seems weaker, happens everywhere in the world. what is it? The colonizers basically saw that there was weakness in in our ammunition as black people, and they meted violence on us. And the thing that has got to change is that war has got to change. War cannot be justified in any manner, because once violence beget violence. In fact, yes, so goes the cliche, and we've got to stop being violent to each other and learn to negotiate, learn to articulate our emotions, learn to articulate our thoughts. And when your emotions get the better of you, learn to, but then when you can't handle the heat in the kitchen, get out of the kitchen.
So this march today, you're walking from Nasrec to the union buildings. What are the demands that you have for the presidency?
Basically, we want the constitutional reform, police reform. We want the presence of police, the visibility of police, and also we want to, to have men talks, but not men talks as in like just having large numbers of people, but considering little pockets of men talk where we are going to start rewriting the script of how to be men and how to be better men, how to be better fathers, and basically review where we're coming from and start charting a path of where we want to go to.
Who are your partners in this process?
My partners are, I'm with the Lorele boys, Paul and Tebogo. They are the ones who basically initiated this march, even this reaction and this movement. And now all we are saying, we also have, there are a lot of, there's a coterie of artists amongst us, and there's a coterie of intellectuals and a coterie of businessmen. So together we are basically saying that we are lending our voice to the call that women have made of demanding an end to gender-based violence and the killing of women and children.
We'll keep watching the march and developments. Thank you so much for talking to us this morning.
Thank you very much, Desiree.
Sello Maake Ka-Ncube, their very well-known face in terms of the arts, but also picking up activism against gender-based violence. You're watching the